Good morning.
Hi, it's Jasmine, Michael John from Just Two Tutoring and Coaching.
We're Just Two Educational Services, Jazz.
Oh, that's right.
Completely rebranded. You didn't know that? I
have.
forgot to send you that memo. Yeah.
And many of you have just ended a quarter with your students.
We're walking.
You're starting a new quarter, or if you're in trimesters, you've just ended that too, and you're starting a new one. Parent-teacher conferences are coming up, and so we have all of this going on at our household as well. And we work with hundreds of young people who are in middle school, high school, and college. And what we want to talk to you about today is accountability. Take it away.
Now, let's talk about accountability. And we're just trying to manage these giant huskies that we've got here.
Our little guys.
Oh my gosh, they're all over the place this morning. I can't seem to walk. And if you hear any squealing, it's not me. It's probably going to be one of the dogs I'm stepping on by accident, of course. But before we do that, let's just take a quick look and enjoy the view for today. Here we are we're mid-October, everybody. Mid-October, well into it. This is like week 9, could be even, yeah, it's roughly week 9, could be right around that for you too. And that brings us into half past semester at this point.
Yep. Many college students are taking their midterms right now, and like we mentioned, high schoolers are moving into the opening of a new quarter.
Yep.
So it's the time for resetting, and if you haven't tried accountability and what that looks like between you and your student, let's talk about how that can be.
Yeah, accountability is incredibly important right now, and we're back. Accountability is incredibly important right now because most of you guys, I'd like to think the majority of us, we're going to have a favorable finish. It's right, but it's right now where, for a lot of us, myself included, you're just not quite clear how that's all going to come together. This is the season of wobble, and that wobble comes from young people being kind of overwhelmed with all of the different things they have going on in their lives.
Yeah.
And sometimes, believe it or not, school takes a back seat, and that might not be, maybe that's the best choice for a few of you individuals, but for the most part, it's important for us as parents, as coaches, as teachers, as therapists, to help our students get back on track, because otherwise that favorable finish will be out of reach. Yeah. And we'll find ourselves literally running out of time. And I know that might sound ridiculous because December seems like so far away, but it is not. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about accountability and what that looks like. Accountability is something that we've been talking about in all of our Walk the Talks. Jazz is encouraging you as parents to schedule time with your kids for a full-on check-in, portal check-in. Let's look at the data, not how's it going in school, do you have any homework. Those yes or no answers are probably not going to provide you with much information.
And it also creates frustration.
Because later on down the line, you find out things weren't really that great. And yes, you did have homework. And yes, probably you should have studied for that test.
And then you're feeling like your kid is lying to you, right? It's just a big setup. Do you have homework? That's not how we work. We want to tweak that because that doesn't get you what you want.
So that form of accountability is incredibly important right now. And it may be counterintuitive, and it may be confusing to you because the logical response, especially as I just said, there's so much going on in our kids' lives right now, right? The logical response is, now's not a good time.
I don't have time.
There's too much going on, Mom. I don't have time for a check-in. I don't really have time for coaching right now because I just have too much going on. Why don't we wait until later when it's not so hectic, and then I could maybe have a conversation with you and Dad, or maybe I could engage with someone in my tutor or someone who wants to help me out, right? That may make sense in the moment. In fact, for us as parents, we have a lot going on too. So we might be able to justify, it does make sense. We have a lot going on. And I know we said we would talk about this on Sunday, but, now it's Tuesday and we missed it. we're just encouraging you to see the power in this accountability, in this transparency, especially when things are hectic. That's what accountability is for.
Yeah, it helps you all get your time back, because when you know, one, you know what needs to get done. That's number one. Number two, when it's going to get done, you plan that out. And plan number three, that you verify and clarify those two, right? What's priorities. And then number four, you say, how do I not forget this? Like,
I'm glad you said that.
right? Notifications. You yourself as a parent knows that this weekend's really pivotal. There's an essay due and a test early next week. This is what our accountability check-ins do. And so what we do at our household and what we're hearing is the same thing. I don't have time. I'm deep in sports right now, and I just want to have time with my boyfriend, and I all of that. And our daughter, she's actually pretty good at planning, but it's when time's not on her side and it feels really squished that the stress happens.
And all those skills seem to almost fall
They
away.
just fall away.
And it can be surprising to you as parents, because maybe like you can relate to what Jazz is saying. Maybe you feel like your kid's pretty organized and they do manage their time pretty well. And they are pretty well self-initiated. So why would they need accountability?
Yeah.
To support them through this most hectic time.
Exactly. And who's holding the stress when the stress rises, right? It starts to seep over, and then you as parents start holding the stress. And so what happens is then you don't know what's going on. And then for some students that are struggling with time management, they are struggling with prioritizing. Procrastination gets way in the way. I got to take these leashes right now. Procrastination takes over. That's really what happens. So what accountability check-ins do is that they interrupt that procrastination. What they do is they diminish the stress, right, that's happening, because now there's an understanding, right? So there's ways that we do this with our students. There's ways that we support you as parents to also find your path through. Why don't we take a look at these guys? Find our path through the muck of stress. We want to show you these puppies that are just taking us on a walk right now. Do you want to point down to them? So we do accountability at our household by scheduling it. And we also, the schedule thing is really, really important. The random talk about school doesn't necessarily get you what you want either. It creates frustration as well and creates tension.
What's random talk? Did we
We
already
haven't
highlight
talked
that?
about random talk.
So what random talk is just like, how's it going at school? Do you have any homework?
And usually it's in the car, or it's in that transition time when they come back home or they're about ready to leave the house. And so we encourage you all as parents not to continue doing that and start to schedule it. And it's now reliable. It's a time that you're practicing with your young person to hold a meeting, right? That's important as well. That's good practice. So good practice of time management and communication. Get it in a calendar, write it on the whiteboard. Highly recommend a family calendar. So at Just Two Educational Services over here, if your student is in with us right now, they're practicing these within their session. They're using resources. Parents are having parent support calls to learn how to approach, being in a different way that's not random, and getting different results. Knowing what resources to use. What do you have access to as a parent? Infinite Campus, if you're using the district's portals, that's one that you have access to. However, it's in the past. And so it's giving you information, but it's not quite current, right? So Schoology, you don't have access to. That's your students' classroom portals. So we essentially show you how to use different portals and how to bring all the information together. And we have our own tool over here as well to support parents and students to talk about what's current, what's in the past, and what's coming up. And so these check-ins have a whole, menu to them for you to pick and choose about what's important to talk about right now. And it guides you through. If you're interested in knowing more about that, schedule your clarity call, and I will be there for you to look over these and to start to understand what would be a best fit for your family. But back to specifically accountability and why it's important. Mike, could you talk about why it's important right now, even when we're so busy?
So accountability is meant to support us in safety netting the course expectations, especially when time is extremely limited. One of the things that our young people really need coaching around is calendaring, and specifically moving beyond the objection, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to get my work done. I don't have enough time to participate in extra activities at school. I don't have enough time to be with my friends. I don't have time to do chores. What's really important here is that each week take the time to structure an hour by hour schedule for the entire week. Now,
that may seem daunting.
And very few of us can really necessarily stick to that, but it is something from which to work. Doggies,
we're going on our walk, and the doggies take us for a walk.
Yes, they do.
So we have a 5-month-old puppy and a 12-year-old puppy.
And neither of them know how to walk on a leash.
And it's okay.
They just wander around.
It's their time. But that's what you see here because we're trying to navigate. But when we don't have time, that's the best time to look at how am I using my time?
Absolutely.
And how can we work as a team, right, to do that? So we work with open-mindedness, open-ended questions.
And every session that we have with our young people in our student sessions always opens with inventory. Whether the student has -7 or 70 missing assignments, always start with a full inventory, communications to teachers, no matter what.
If you're interested in parent support, our parents who have their students in sessions with coaches, they get parent support, and they schedule that to learn how to do these type of check-ins that get you connected and better results in knowing what's going on and not fighting the I don't know or I don't have or I'm overwhelmed, right? So you get to have a new and different experience with your student.
So get some accountability coaching. Whether you're doing it with your kids, get that into your culture, into your schedule this week.
Absolutely. Highly recommended.
If you're feeling like that sounds like a tough thing to pull off, ask for help.
Yeah.
We'll help you set it up.
Absolutely. And we have what's called On It Accountability Services. This is for middle, high school, and college. It was originally developed for college. This is where, like Mike just did this for a student today, we look through the portals, we walk through the priorities, we ask the questions, we help your student have a metacognitive experience that will actually help them move forward rather than feel stuck.
Imagine an individualized video going out to your young person from their coach saying, here's what I'm seeing in the data, here's what I'm seeing is necessary for you to strategically improve your grade and get yourself back on track.
And it also gives you the tool to then meet, right? Within 24 to 48 hours, you meet. That tool is current. It gives you the data necessary to make a plan, to have a new experience, to move from I don't know or I don't have any homework to okay, we know what's ahead of us. We know what needs to get taken care of, and here's how we're going to do it. So that you, mom and dad, or mom and mom, or dad and dad, can go ahead and not take on the stress, but take on the role of nurturing and supporting, rather than investigating and questioning and feeling like, I don't know what's up from down.
And every time we talk about school, it's a big fight.
Yeah, we don't want that anymore for you all. Or it's frustrating and you feel alone, right? Something like that. Maybe you're not fighting, but you just feel like your kid's withdrawing and getting real quiet and you're concerned. So we want you to have a different experience. How do you do that right now? Just right now, without anything else, without any resources or tools from us or a call with us. You simply schedule it in and say to your kid, hey, could we just have a simple check-in after dinner? Why don't we go for ice cream? Or how about show me that new video game you're doing? Or I know you got a lot going on. Why don't we go out to dinner? Or, you know, and then just have a chat about any tests you have coming up or retakes you think you want to do. Or I just want to know what's going on and I want to listen. You can tell me what's up and we can take a look. Again, it can be as simple as what's coming up tomorrow. You don't know, let's figure it out together, right? So you can be their person. They can start trusting you again. Try not to do for them. Try not to tell them things. Just turn up your listening. We offered a tool on how to do this. Let us know if you'd like to have that, but just simply find a time to connect. Give your kid the heads up that you want to do this. That's really important because then they're aware. It doesn't come out of the blue. That's important. If that gives them time to be nervous or anxious, then maybe do it a little bit ahead rather than a day ahead, right? You know your kid best. So just wanted to give you that because you do have access to this just as you are. And we are also here to support you to even up level from there.
Let's get accountable, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time on Walkie Talk.